made it clear to you, brother, see the finish line. I visualize realities I wanted, then invented mine. It ain't how you start, it's how you finish, word to the scrimmage line. Luckily my hustle is my passion, this shit intertwined. I can pop a yerba, I don't need it though, I'm energized.
All right, we're back. Welcome to the Hustleaholics podcast with your host, Mike Anderson.
And your boy, Mike Poglese. And today we have a special guest. Mike, who do we have?
We have Quentin Gause. Quentin Gause, welcome to the podcast, brother. Quentin is a former NFL player. He now runs a company. He's the CEO over at Iron Visuals Visual Marketing. He's a fitness trainer, has a podcast, does a lot of things, and stays busy. That's what I like to see, man. Welcome to have you here.
Appreciate you inviting me on the show, man.
Definitely, man. Yeah, so I know we were just kind of briefing you a little bit before we got into the show, kind of getting into really what the point of this podcast is with the Hustleaholics podcast. So really wanted to just kind of kick it off with you explaining your story, you know, where you come from, your beginnings, and then how you got to the NFL and what that story looked like for you.
Yeah, man. So the beginnings, the young Hugo. So when I was a young kid, I always start off when I talk to different groups is I had IEP, individual education plan. So I was in the smaller classrooms when I, growing up. So kind of, as a young kid, you're like, why am I in the small classrooms, Mom? Why, and you're, mentally that's kind of daunting. You're like, man, like am I stupid? Keeping it real, like, am I stupid? What's wrong? And it's just, for me, it just took longer to learn concepts. That was the hugest problem. And I learned as I got older, things worked better. But from when I was a young kid, my parents constantly pushed me. My mom's from Central America. She's from Panama. My dad's from Miami. They ended up meeting in Rochester, New York. So they constantly pushed us to work hard. And one thing that I guess kind of moving it forward is I had this, rich childhood in the sense that we came from the hood, worked our way to the middle class, and then worked our way to the suburbs, right? So I got a chance to see hood, in between to suburbs. I got a chance to see all of it. So I was able to interact with group of different people and growing up, and actually helped me within my business. I'm able to interact with tons of different people, and I think that's contributed to growing up as a young kid. But growing up, my dad he loved football, so he helped put me in sports. And we constantly worked to achieve a scholarship for me to go to school. And one big thing that hit me when I was young is that I was in 8th grade. I literally was in a park. I was in a park, playing in this park. And I said, I don't know, something hit me that said, you need to start working on getting to college. And I'm a believer, I felt God told me to get your butt and start focusing on that. I'm like, this is how it's happening. One day in the park. So I go to the library. He's like, go to the library. Go to the library, look at different schools and start to think about what schools I want to go to. The next step after that is hey, we went to a couple of camps and combines and stuff. And this is where it changed. This is where everything, this is how I began to build my habits. I went to a camp, I did terrible, ran a 5.2 40 as a linebacker, horrible. And I was back in the car and my dad was like, you did okay, son? I was like, no, I didn't. I did horrible. Come on. He's like, all right, calm down. He's like, talk to your uncle. My uncle was a trainer at the time, Caleb. So Caleb called on the phone. We're driving back from Urban, Ohio. And he's like, how bad do you want this? I said, I want this bad. I want to become a scholarship player. He said, okay, you're going to have to do a couple of things. What do I have to do? You're going to have to limit your time on the PS3. That's at the time, it was a PS3.
There you go.
Then you're gonna have to stay after school late. You can't just leave when everybody else leaves. You have to stay after school and work on your academics. I said, okay. The next thing he said was, you're gonna have to get up at 5 in the morning and go to the gym and be there by 5:30, at least 2 days a week. I said, all right, I haven't done that, but let's go. And then it was just limit your time on the computer. So I dedicated 4 years of myself to just focus and lock in on what I needed to do. And I locked in and focused, and that helped me achieve 6 scholarships, full ride to school. Damn. Ended up going to Rutgers University. So that dedication I put in those 4 years, traveling around the country after the season was over, continuously, I literally dedicated my life to get into these scholarships. And this has created these habits that have led with me through college and the NFL into where I'm at in my business. So that's kind of like the quick story of how I went to college and then NFL. And college is a long story, but went through there, became a captain at Rutgers, played in the Big East, the American Conference, the Big Ten. Captain, and able to went to the NFL as a free agent. Interception with the Eagles. Got to play on the Broncos, play with the Patriots, play with Tom Brady. Congrats to Tom on the win. And then started the business from there. But I'll stop there because it's a lot more. But
no, for sure. Overall, appreciate the context. It's always good to kind of get deep into that, because then we get to like get a real understanding for who you are and where you come from. And I think the powerful thing about what you were mentioning was just that commitment. Like, I always talk about how ultimately everything in life is a choice, and it comes with a light switch. Like, it's literally just a choice to flip the switch on. 9 times out of 10, deciding to wake up at 5 a.m. is I'm gonna just wake up at 5 a.m. Like, I just need to decide that, commit to that, and then do what I have to do to make it happen. For me, I wake up at 5 a.m. as well. And in order to do that, I got to put my phone on the other side of the room, because, I live with my girlfriend. If that alarm is going off more than 2 times, like, I'm going to hear it the next morning, So I need to jump my ass up right at 5, pick up that phone and keep it moving in order to have everything cordial in the household, So I just want to hear from you, like, what's the true level of dedication and commitment that comes into Division I football and then leading up to, NFL and getting an opportunity to be on the field? Because, all sports, like, people can make it to that level, right? But just like you just mentioned, having an interception with the Eagles and playing with Tom Brady, those types of situations are 1 in a million. So definitely want to hear your perspective on what type of dedication and commitment it takes to achieve that level of success in football.
Focus, lots of focus, and putting aside the distractions. That's one big thing that there was a lot of distractions, trust me, in college and even high school, college, there's lots of distractions, but it's just like literally honing in on what you want and really like dedicating to that. And I've learned later on down the road that to create a vision board, to visualize and constantly have your goals written out all the time. And that's what I did when I was in high school. I wrote down all these goals and I put them on my door. So every time I walked to my room, I saw what I needed to accomplish. 4.0 GPA in high school, get a college scholarship. Don't get any women pregnant. Don't keep it real with myself. Don't get someone pregnant. Like, just real. Like, because there's people that happens all the time. Like, tons of teammates like that. Don't get someone pregnant and honing on your craft. Constantly stay focused. I had these goals written down, and I achieved a 3.5 GPA in high school. Got 6 scholarships. Then, we transferred into college. No kids, single. And going into college, like similar thing. Get a 4.0. Got a 4.0 twice. Overcame those barriers with the IEP. Oh, you stupid. Like kids saying, man, overcame that. Kept working, and it was the dedication I put towards that in high school, leading into college. And that led into NFL, like all that hard work, that focus, opened up doors. And that's it. If you stay, I know it sounds so simple, but if you legit stay focused, if you put aside the distractions, my thing was like, hey, if I'm going to go to a party, I'm going to DJ the party and I'm going to make money from it. That's what I did in college. So this, I'm going to turn up. No, we're going to, Jersey club music in New Jersey.
Hell yeah.
That was always at Rutgers all the time. And, it would be an amazing time, but I would make tons of money from student res life. I was able to pay off my car. I would always try to create some business opportunities while playing football. And instead of getting myself distracted. Did I get distracted sometimes? Yeah, I did. But I was more focused than distracted. That's all I can say. But yeah, that's all it is that home and knowing what you want and staying consistent. Atomic Habits by James Clear says it. Get 1% better each day. Really just try to work on that. Don't get 1% worse each day. So
100%.
Yeah, no, I love that. And one thing I really resonated with what you were saying is kind of when you asked your uncle, you know, like what it was that you needed to do, you know. And he was basically telling you that you need to repurpose your time, right? You know, he's like, now you're spending your time like wasting time on these other things that are clouding you from achieving your vision, your true vision. And you know, all you have to do is repurpose that time. Like I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is like we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just about how you utilize that 24 hours. And that's one thing that I always like to touch on because as Mike said, you know, like we're big fans of the early wake up. Like me personally, like I push the 3:35 a.m. Wake up, and like you know I think people think that I do that shit because like they think like I'm trying to be cute for it, you know, and like the thing is like I do that because like we have things that we have to get done. You know, there's things that I'm trying to accomplish throughout the day. And like that's just what it requires, you know, like at my point in my life right now, that's what it requires, you know, is like that early wake up, you know, because there's just not enough time, you know. But that's one thing that I really liked about what you said is grasping that at a young age, because I feel like if I would have grabbed that at a young age, that concept of like how you spend your time and your energy, then I would be much further in my life right now. And I think that's like one big message that I got out of that is you know, you just referencing the fact that it wasn't some crazy recipe to where how you got to where you're at. It was just executing, you know, and it was about staying consistent. So I really like that.
Consistency.
100%. And when it came to because I'm curious to hear this, because our last podcast that we recorded, me and Mike chatted a little bit about the Super Bowl, a little bit. Honestly, that podcast was kind of all over the place. It was like about the Super Bowl, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Elon, like it was all over the place. But talking about you know, the recent Super Bowl and the fact that you were on the same team as Tom, what were some lessons that you kind of observed from being on the Patriots? I'm from Cape Cod, Massachusetts originally, so I'm a huge Patriots fan. Patriots are near and dear to my heart, so I want to hear what type of lessons you learned in that organization and like how they operate, because we all know, you know, the Patriot way.
The Patriots. I don't know if you okay. I think this kind of where it starts off is like Greg Schiano. I don't know if you know Greg Schiano, head coach at Rutgers and then went to Tampa and stuff. The way Greg Schiano runs his organization is similar to Bill Belichick's, and Bill Belichick's love Rutgers players. Devin McCourtney, Deron Harmon,
Yeah.
Logan Ryan, all those guys, Rutgers, all my teammates I played with. And when I went there, like similar, same way, like he ran it, like the way we were treated at Rutgers, you know, hardworking, like blood, sweat, and tears every practice, and then the games were easy, but practice was the hardest part. Same thing at the Patriots. Like every guy was accountable. Tom Brady running sprints with you. Like most or other organizations, like, all right, leave him out. He needs to rest his shoulder. No, like him and Gronk, all these other guys, they're running with you. You guys are grinding right after practice. And I was on practice squad, we were getting crushed already, and then we had to do what they were doing too. So I'm like, whew, you know, but it motivated me. I was actually about to get promoted to special teams and play and start, and then I got released and then went to the Broncos. So, but it was amazing to be in that. I felt like I knew that environment already. So that's why I went there. I felt comfortable there. I stayed late. I stayed till like 9, 10 o'clock just studying film, because their defense, you can't really like just learn their entire defense. It's like they switch it up all the time. It's so different. So I was really just studying and honing in on what they knew, what I needed to know. And man, I love that organization. I love that organization. Hard working to be there, but it's worth it because they work hard.
For sure. Incredible.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it takes though, is like you said, it's the hard work, and that applies across life, and that's what people don't. That I feel like that's what a lot of people miss out on. You know.
100%. And how did you know, your NFL career, how did that transition into you starting your visual marketing company and you know, doing personal training? I mean, I can make the correlation with personal training definitely, but you know, getting into the visual marketing side, like when did that become something that became a passion of yours, and you realized that like maybe I should pursue this side too?
Yeah, so it started, I think high school, I ended up doing a lot of video editing just for highlight films. And I would like have fun, throw effects in there, use Adobe. It was Adobe Elements. I didn't use Premiere at the time. I wasn't that advanced yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, started using Elements and editing, and I would sell edit highlight tapes, and it's for like 60 to 120 bucks, depending. Yeah, and I had a little business going on. No LLC, but I had a business.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that's kind of where that started. Then I had a real big interest in sports broadcasting, so we always had to edit footage and stuff. And I did internships at every news station in Rochester, New York. I interned at SNY in New York City, ESPN. So I had a chance to like really just dive into it, but it was nothing like this, like cool effects and doing all that stuff for companies. And this is good. I'm gonna put this in my book because I'm writing a book. And after I got cut from the Broncos, I took a long drive back from Denver, Colorado, and I drove from Denver to Rochester, New York. That's a 24-hour drive. Probably took me like 27 hours to get there. And I thought about my business plan. I thought about what I wanted to accomplish next in my life, and I sat down and finally had I played in a couple other leagues and stuff after that, but I sat down and created my business. I wrote down an entire business plan. I didn't know where to start. What I started was by just doing vlogs, and I went internationally with my brother, because my brother somehow had free time off his job to just leave. So I was like, hey, let's fly out the country, and we started like filming in different countries, mainly in South America. So we went to like Cancun, Panama, where my mom's from. We went to, Colombia and DR. So we started there, then Thailand, and went some other places. And we started to build this portfolio. So it was vlogs, and then we started like actually filming for some hotels and stuff. And then build a portfolio, came back domestically and started to say, hey, like we can do these videos for you guys, and just reach out to different companies. First big client that we got was Lamar Advertising. And that's just from going up to the front door, knocking on the door. Hey, we can do these videos for you. This is our portfolio. Like, this is what we can offer you. Just pitch them. And they were like, hey, like, let's do it. Let's do it. Fine. We'll knock it out. Let's do it. And that's how it started. It just started trickling from there, and building a portfolio. Then we started adding, we had video, and then we added on graphic design, photos, web design, and then the full-blown out marketing element. And yeah, like it was a grind, man. Like, it was a legit grind. It was free opportunities, free gigs. Just like had to go do a lot of free stuff. But doing some of those free things led to big clients, because a big client may just been sitting in a restaurant while I was filming, or while my other partner was filming in another state. Like, that's how it happened. And we just started to trickle on. So as time progressed, yeah, it led to different clientele. And we want to work with big brands, and we utilize some of our skill sets to reach out to some of these brands and show them a portfolio. But that's how we've closed different brands like Google and Lamar and NFL. And it's been a blessing, man. It's been a lot of hard work, but definitely well worth it. And I love it, because I'm an entrepreneur, running my own company, have a couple of employees, and it's a blessing.
100%. Yeah, man. It's incredible to get to that point too. I think me and Mike always touch on this recently, because we've started to get to that point where, we've grown to a team of 11 now or so. And we're starting to see that position where kind of shifting that mindset. It seems like you've always had that entrepreneurial mindset, even, way back, and like applying that. Sometimes when you start your business, you start to become money driven in a sense, because you're creating your own income, your back's against the wall, right? You don't have that check coming in every week. So you kind of push yourself. You're like, how can I get some cash in the door as soon as possible? But shifting from that mindset to that CEO mindset, where you're supplying opportunity to others, is a huge shift to make, because it's so gratifying and fulfilling to, like, I know me and Mike can both agree that we like writing our checks for our employees more than we like writing our checks for ourselves, like seeing the fact that we're able to provide those opportunities are huge. So I totally understand where you're coming from when it comes to that. And when you talk about your story, and when you talk about how you took that drive back from Denver, shout out Denver, because I'm in Denver, but when you took that drive back from Denver, talk about the fact that I know you have mentioned a couple times that you have been through, getting cut from a couple teams. Talk about like that feeling of when you get cut, when you're back, when you get kind of knocked down a bit, and like, what was the ultimate drive for you to be like, this really sucks, but I got to get up and get back to work, because I'm sure it's a tough feeling to feel, especially when you're devoting so much time into your craft. And then feeling that feeling, and like, how did you get back up and always start something new, ultimately leading to a successful visual marketing company? So I kind of want to hear your perspective on that, where you're like, life punches us in the face sometimes.
Yeah, so true. I'm going to backtrack a little bit to after I left the Patriots, and then kind of go forward from there, because it was something that happened that kind of kicked me in the butt and made me change, like had to wake back up again. And when I left the Patriots, I had the next opportunity was Tampa Bay, and that opportunity came about. So I went down there. This is after a week I got cut. Went straight down to Tampa. Went for the tryout, and I was kind of like, I don't know if it was the Florida weather or if it was just me. I was tired during the workout, and did the workout, and they were like, they called my agents like, he's a little tired. Like, I don't think he, we're gonna sign him, but I don't know if he. So I didn't get signed that day, and hurt. And I'll keep it real. Like, did I make some excuses? Like, man, I'm normally like in shape. I'm good. I don't know why they didn't. You can't make excuse. Like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like, it's not real. You gotta be real with yourself. And that was a moment that I had. And so after that, I had the Bronco opportunity. So I'm in the middle of nowhere, and trying to think. I'm like 20 minutes away from Foxborough. I don't know what town it was. Starts with a T. I forgot the name of the town. I was in an extended stay hotel, and I'm cut from a team, no team. So I'm like, I got Denver left. That's it. Like, I got to try out over there. I got to just get in shape. I got to do what I got to do. So I'm in the parking lot doing wind sprints, 100 wind sprints. I'm running 4 miles in neighborhoods I don't know. I'm on a little plot of grass, got my cleats, doing drills. And I do that for like 8 days straight. And then I go to my tryout in Denver. Go out my tryout in Denver and do everything, do all the drills. It's 10 linebackers and 1 tight end. So what's the odds of that? So they pick up the tight end, right? And then out of us, they ended up, they had all of us sit down, and then they said, all right, they're like picking some guys up, and then they like chose me, and they're like, come here. Oh man, okay. So they took me outside, and they're like, there goes John Elway out there, go down. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We'll go to John Elway. He said, Quinn, welcome to the Denver Broncos. We just wanted to see if you were conditioned.
Wow.
We just wanted to see if you were conditioned.
Wow.
If you're prepared for your opportunity, man, like, you don't have to get prepared already. And that was a huge moment. So transitioning from that to, like, driving back from Denver now, I got cut after 2 years of being there. It's just constantly, I'm not satisfied. Like, okay, I got cut, I got put down. I was already a kid with an IEP back then, like constantly adversity. You're gonna get punched in the mouth sometimes, and you gotta get up. Like, you can't, it's easy to sit down and get depressed and be down, but that's selfish. That's selfish. Like, it's selfish. And I remember somebody was talking about that the other day. It's like, that makes sense. It's selfish because there's so many people in the world going through so much already that we're complaining. Yeah, we're human. We complain, but it's selfish if you're doing it for so long. Like, if you got punched in the mouth or you lost that business deal, all right, get back up. Okay, shake it off, whine a bit, get back in the game. But if you weeks on months end, what you doing with yourself, man? It's selfish. So it's constantly, I think I'm constantly telling myself, like, don't be satisfied for where you're at. Don't be the car on the road that's driving, that gets a flat tire and then sits there and never moves again. Fix the tire in the car and let's keep it moving.
Man, I like that right there.
Yeah.
I like that. That's fire right there. We're clipping that one right there. But no, I mean, I really like that though, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is like, and I think that's honestly like the difference between, I hate to like say this like statement, like winners or losers, but like, that's really it. It's like your ability to be able to get punched in the mouth and get back up. Like, that's literally the only thing that's different between the people that succeed in life and that don't, because at the end of the day, like Mike and I, we've had like some really high level people as guests on this podcast, and it's always the same thing. It's always some sort of hardships that they've suffered, that they've overcome to create this new life that they have. But if it wasn't for that hard time, they wouldn't have gotten to where they are now, you know? So I think that's a really big thing. And I know me personally, I've experienced it numerous times, like numerous hardships that in return, you know, like are now gifts, you know, like I wouldn't change those events for anything. In fact, I'm happy that that they happened to me, you know, because I wouldn't be here right now. And that's something that we often talk about. But man, I really love what you're saying there about, you know, like change that freaking flat tire and get back on the road, man. Like, what the hell are you doing? And the big thing is, like, for me, I always say, like, on the selfish part, I always say, like, you know, it's not about me, you know, like it's about like my family and my people, you know. So like if I don't hit that wake up time tomorrow, it's not because like it's me being selfish that I want more sleep, but in return, like, what am I actually doing this for? It's not for me. It's like it's for my family. It's for, like, you know, like my business, you know, like my employees, things like that, you know. So like I think that's a really big thing, and you kind of like hinted on that, is like, you know, the selfish part is like you got to realize that you got to take yourself out of the situation and realize what the hell you're doing this for, you know?
Right. That's true. Great point.
100%. And there's one thing with what you were mentioning. I actually listened to a podcast this morning from Andy Frisella, and like I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this because I took a couple notes from it, and it was talking about how true champions get hungrier every time they win because there's no peak. You continue to get yourself in a state where you can accomplish more, and that is high performance. What do you have to say about that, Quentin, when it comes to getting hungrier when you get wins? Because we just talked about how when you get punched in the face, you know, but sometimes if you're in the right mindset, it's pretty easy to pick yourself up when you get punched in the mouth sometimes when you are in the right mind state, right? But sometimes it's harder when you get those wins, man, and you're like, man, I'm chilling right now, you know, like like you close a big deal, and like and there's like that money hits the bank, the wire hits the bank, and your mind starts to tell yourself like, man, I'm gonna take the rest of the week off, bro, like I can just close the big deal, right? So
gonna go to Tulum, baby girl.
Yeah, right. We're going to Tulum. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's the thing, is like, what do you have to say about that? You know, like staying hungry even during the wins.
Man, that's a good question. So that kind of takes me back, I guess, to like that aspect of when I went to Denver. I mean, no, not Denver, Tampa for that workout, and like I was winning when the Patriots got cut. So like I got kind of like complacent. I got out of my traditional workout, which I do all the time, every day. Just kill myself and like get to where I gotta go. So I would say, man, like you gotta keep like you can't get satisfied with where you're at. You can't get satisfied. And I think that to where I got to myself too in my career and stuff was like I kept telling myself, and some people are like, well, don't be down on yourself. Say no, I would tell myself mentally, I'm like, you ain't done shit yet. Excuse my French, you ain't done shit yet.
Mm-hmm.
I tell myself that constantly. If I'm working out, I'm like not beating myself up. I'll celebrate the wins, but I'm like, I ain't done shit yet. I ain't there yet. Like I'm not. Why are you sad? You're happy, but why are you feeling super happy up here, bro? You got to service the clients still, or you got to get the results. You're not done yet. I love Tom Brady because look how long he's been playing. He's been playing since I've been a little kid. Like, how do you do that every year for that long? And I think he writes a book about it. Like he constantly, even though he may have not gone to the playoffs one year, he was still trained like he was in the playoffs and winning in the Super Bowl. And it's that mindset. You got to just like humble yourself. You got to keep yourself locked in. Even if you see a check for 100K, keep moving. It's just pennies. We got to keep moving. We can't be satisfied here, guys. Come on. You know, so it's just kind of like blocking out the noise and just like being honed in on where the goal is. And because I know that feeling, we've all been there. We've been excited. It's like, oh, but you got to like suppress it and then just keep moving forward to where you want to go.
100%. Love that. No, I mean, that's the thing, man, is like, I feel like Mike and I have definitely had those situations, especially as like, you know, when you're young and you're starting a business, you get like that first client that pays like way above what you've normally had clients pay. And you're like, shit, man, like, just like Mike said, we're
10K
taking
wire. Yeah, you get that first 10K wire, 25K wire. You're like, man, I'm gonna take the month off, you know? Like, like we got bills paid for a year. Are you
for
kidding
real.
me?
That's the thing is I think it's natural, you know, like where humans just naturally feel that kind of like energy where like, I think, even though we are wired as like survival beings in a sense where like we're constantly pushed to survive, like at the end of the day, we're animals too, right? But like what it comes down to is, you know, we have that like natural feeling nowadays, especially with social media and stuff like that, to just kind of let off the gas, because it looks like on social media, sometimes when you're on there, it looks like nobody works, right? It looks like everybody's living the life every day, when in reality, that's not true. They just don't show you the work that's behind it. And that's really the point of this whole podcast, to like wrap it all around, is like, when it comes to Hustleaholics, like this whole goal is to show people that, you know, sometimes it might look like we're chilling and sometimes it might look like we're enjoying our time, but in reality, there's a lot of work that leads up to that point when we can even take, you know, a day to chill, right? So yeah, man, all in all, I think it was a pleasure to have you, bro. Your story is super inspiring. Definitely, you know, looking forward to just staying in contact, supporting you in any way we can. But first and foremost, when it comes to the audience, where can they find you, and where would you like them to reach out if they have any questions or want to connect?
Definitely. So you can reach out on Instagram at Qgause, Facebook, Quentin Gause. The company is www.ironvisuals.com or @_ironvisuals. And it's pretty much it on IG. And that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys, man. This is a great podcast. And yeah, looking forward to helping any way I can as well, too, with you guys, too.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Pleasure to have you, Quentin. We'll definitely be looking forward to maybe a round 2 in a few months or so.
Let's do it.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for hopping on.
Thanks, man.
In the pandemic, hey, I know what I want. I got the tunnel vision. Double up and flip it, start another business. Meditate daily or else I get to tripping. Cause rapping is easy, but staying humble is